We're going to do our chili ganache here. What we've got here is plain chocolate, and here we've got our cream. We've already put in some cinnamon, zest from an orange, and we've also infused the cream with some chili, some inverted sugar. We never ever use a real sugar, like granulated sugar, in our chocolates because of the crystallization. It makes like sugar crystals, which is very unpalatable. So the chocolate comes in inverted form. It's basically fructose and glucose. So that's in here, and it also serves as a preservative, a natural preservative. With a ganache or any filling, we want to limit the water activity in the chocolate, because water makes bacteria to grow, and you don't want your chocolate to spoil. So when you make a ganache, you don't use a whisk. A whisk creates air bubbles. What you want to do is you want to make an emulsion. With a spatula, you start in the middle and you start to whisk it. Gradually add it. It's like the same reason as for mayonnaise, where you want to marry vegetable fat with an animal fat. The vegetable fat is the chocolate. The animal fat is the cream and the butter. And it has to marry. It doesn't like each other. So you want to emulsify it together. So you have to do it gradually. If you just bang everything in, you will break the mix and it will curdle. And you will have a very unpalatable mix or ganache or filling. And you want to have that nice mouth feel when you bite into a chocolate. This is also inspired by some of our clients when we were working on the farmers markets, and they were asking for a chili chocolate. And I like chilies, but I wanted something to enhance the chili, to give it a little bit more warmth and just the sweetness to it. I thought by adding cinnamon and orange, it just works fantastically with the chili. In the beginning, you have to add it slowly, and then towards the end, you can do it a little bit faster. Okay, make sure that all the nice goodness is in. The chili, cinnamon, and the orange zest. For good measure, we can cut a little bit of orange juice in the mix. I never ever assume that the recipe is right, so I taste. And we just squeeze a little bit of orange in it. Just a little bit. If you're happy with it, you have to taste all three of the ingredients, the chilies, the cinnamon, and the orange. Then you know the marriage is working. Once that's combined and you're happy with the flavor, the last bit is the butter. The butter is not melted, it's room temperature. You never ever melt the butter when you make a ganache. Also has to do with the fact that it curdles. So you start to whisk that in. And if you want to, you can use the stick blender and just mix it in. That's it. This is your ganache. Orange, cinnamon and chili ganache. You can see it's quite nice and thick and shiny. And it's ready to be piped into the molds. We've got here red cocoa butter. Cocoa butter is one of the ingredients of real chocolate. It's derived from the cocoa bean in the process of making a cocoa paste. So you can take the cocoa butter and you can mix in some color. You could get a lot of orange, yellow, blue, whatever you want to use. We're going to prepare a chocolate mold to put in some chili, cinnamon and orange ganache. With the cocoa butter, you also need to melt it down because it comes in it's solid. So you have to melt it down and then also temper it a little bit. And then you can use all kinds of brushes, and you can take up your mold and you can paint on the mold like so. Or sometimes you can also use your finger, or you can also use the toothbrush. And you can shoot it in like so. And this is the look that we've got on our chili bars. It's like a spray, a fine sprinkle, and it's not perfect dots. it is what makes it look nice in the end. It doesn't need to be like all the same spatter. So there's a lot of things that you can do on a paintbrush. You can also use a little piping bag and pipe dots in the mold. Like I say, you can use your finger or a brush, or if you've got two colors, red and yellow, you can go over with different brushes. You can go over one and then you can use the yellow brush like so. So once you're done with that, I think I'm going to just turn it around sometimes. Gives it another angle so that you make sure that you've covered the whole cavity, the molds. I have to be generous because it has to show off with dark chocolate. We also do our red hearts like that. Use a white chocolate on that one. If you use a dark chocolate, you have to, in a way, show it off like so. We're going to put it in the fridge for a few minutes, 2 minutes. Okay, we are ready for our next step. We're going to put some gold on top of the red. Is dry now. It has to be touch dry. Use your finger and you get a nice red and gold finishing touch on the mold. If that's done, we're going to flood it with dark chocolate. This is another process that is a bit time consuming, but this makes our chocolate shines and make it special. If you have that little bit of extra to it. You don't want all your chocolate to look like that. We just have a few of them that shines like this. Sometimes we also do Easter eggs like that, where you can do a lot of paint techniques on the egg. Just take off all the excess paint, and your spatula must have a sharp edge. It must be like a knife, cut like a knife.